Venerable Sirs, Dhamma friends, it's the time for our today's Dhamma talk. May everyone settle down for the Dhamma talk and give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Panchako ahang bhante bhagavati dhammang samanupassami. Yehi bhagavantang savaka garukaroti maneti pujeti sakkatva garukatva upanissaya viharati ti. Dear Venerables, Dhamma friends, whenever we are meditating, specifically residential in an intensive meditation retreat, we try our best to make use the time as much as possible for the unachieved things to be achieved, and therefore we have to facilitate this particular time with all our best. So that particular thing the Buddha is considering as the anugraha or facilitating. So each one of us, according to our own experience and our theoretical knowledge, we try our best. But as far as that facilitating or giving facilities for this meditation success is concerned, Buddha is the supreme, because he has taken so much of time and experience it, and with full of compassion, he is happy to share the way the one should practice and what is the how is it must be facilitated, and giving the conducive conditions. So therefore, he used to say there are 5 ways, according to the omniscient knowledge of the Buddha, 5 ways to facilitate our celibate life or meditative life. And the first and foremost is Sila Anugrahita. That means we have to facilitate it with precepts or moral conduct. That is why whenever we start a residential retreat, specifically the lay people, observe higher precepts, so to say 8 precepts, and that is the way they renew their mind, make ready for the advanced restrainment, that is called Sila Anugrahita or Sila Sikha, kind of a restrainment. So then we feel different from our day-to-day household life. It's a kind of a preparation, preliminary preparation for this mental culture. This is usually regarding the physical and verbal behavior. So we take the Sila Anugrahita, and then we have to listen to talks. That is what we are doing now. For that, our theoretical knowledge must be brushed and renewed, and mostly gearing to our purpose of establishment of mindfulness. So therefore, even the expert people, they are listening just like beginners with this new perspective. So that is why we take 1 hour or so for the Dhamma talk. The other one is Sakacha Anugrahita, that is to say discussion or question and answers, whereby one has to directly or pinpointed way raise the question and make the issue clear according to one's own practice or one's own advancement. So question and answer is that kind of a directed one. That's also highly appreciated in this dispensation. In the other religious circles, hardly there are times or opportunities for the discussion because they can't debate upon the Holy Script. Holy Script is already decided. No one has any authority to debate upon that. But in this Theravada tradition, I think Mahayana tradition is more aggressive. They are debating each other on the Dhamma points, one's own experience, and there are basic knowledges and everything. So it's a very dynamic in discussion. With these all preliminaries only, one can go to the meditation on the samatha, tranquil method, or meditation on vipassana, inside meditation. And that is how this facilitating it, giving the conducive conditions, as a group or as an individual, we have to take care. So for this particular retreat, it's a fairly long one as far as the yearly retreats are concerned. And for that, there was a suggestion that one particular discourse delivered by the Buddha, known as Maha Sutta, what you find in the Majjhima Nikaya, the Middle Length sayings, suggested. And of course, it's a very fairly a long one and handling a very vast area of the teaching of the Buddha. So we are trying to make you this as a theme. So we will take portion by portion as the day's topic and then proceed according to the sutta, and we may go into the profundity of the teaching of the Buddha. So this Maha Sutta is something like Pottapada Sutta. It's going like a discussion with a person or mendicant, not belong to the Buddhist dispensation, but the Buddha is the person initiate the discussion, and even though at the beginning it appeared not much smooth and leading to the very deep, profound results. So therefore, even a beginner hope may not find difficult to understand this, digest it. So therefore, whenever that kind of a discourse going to start, it's a traditional way to give the historical background, how it happens. So with respect to that context, only the starting happened. So therefore, in the whole Sutta Pitaka, or the basket of these discourses, the root cause or background is a must. So here also you can see the Buddha was in Rajagaha, and dramatically the events explained, whereby we can imagine about 6,000 years, 2,600 years ago, so much of miles away or kilometers away, how thing happened, and the way it recorded, it has been brought up to our age or date. It says the Buddha took his bowl and adjusted his robe and went to the Pindapata or alms rounds, and he found it is too early. Then thought of going to this particular Sakrudaya's place, and Sakruda is recognized as one of the leader, having a lot of disciples, and they are also meditating. And meanwhile, there were some other 6 renowned meditation teachers or secluded or ascetics traditions, and Sakruda also fairly famous. The Buddha decided to go to the Sakrudaya's place. So when he is approaching, the Sakruda was sitting with his disciples and talking trivial things, and they were shouting each other, and they were in a discussion. Soon they see the Buddha is appearing or reaching. Sakruda managed to calm down. His disciple says, the Gautama, the Siddhartha, is very, very happy with the silence and don't make noise. If it is so, he will not be happy to come here again and again. So his coming is very precious, very good. So if you people wish him to come again and again, respect him with the silence. Don't talk each other. He managed to some or the other calm down the group. And meanwhile the Buddha goes and sit on the assigned seat and ask, what was the talk were you engaged in? What disturbed my coming? Then the Sakuladai says, the talk that we were discussing is not much important for you. So whatever may be, your coming is very, very welcome and precious, and we are really appreciate your coming to our place. And then he says, last time when we get together in the community hall, the people around this Rajagaha made that kind of a comment, telling Rajagaha is very blessed, very happy, because so much of religious masters are living in this rainy retreat here, and Purana Kassapa, Makkali Gosala, Ajita Kesa Kambala, Sanjay Bellatiputta, Pakuta Kachayana, and the Nigantanatha Putta, very famous during contemporary time of the Buddha. They all were in the Angamagada, that province, and this Sakuladai as well as the Buddha. And they says, when they get together in the community hall, they says that all the people, they are happy to live in Rajagaha and they are living their rainy retreat, and there are a lot of people, followers. And then Sanjay, the Sakuladai, is giving an account how they teach them, what are the responses and how much they are successful. So one by one he says, whenever, for example, Purana Kassapa is going to give a sermon, one person will come out and say, if you wish to know this particular issue, don't ask Purana Kassapa, he is not competent enough, you please ask me. And then the unwanted cross talks happen. Then Purana Kassapa used to say, please don't talk. If someone need, you may ask me. I can tell you. So don't have a talk while I am talking. But he can't. People are not listening to him. So therefore, whenever the gathering happens, the Purana Kassapa can't get the competent saying or mastery about the gathering. So this is how he is doing. So he gives the same account for all the 6 other renowned masters, and he says that even though they have disciples, disciples are not well disciplined. Even in a talk, in a meeting, they don't have etiquettes, and therefore they don't respect. Even though the people think the disciples are very respectful and they are renowned people, but that is not the case. So he gives one after the other. And instead, when the disciple of the Buddha, whenever he is giving a talk, everyone is very silent. If a sneezing happen, or even a cough going to happen, they do it very silently, as less volume as possible, and they are so absorbed in the listening. And therefore, people were talking at the community hall, the Buddha some or the other keep the people, keep the disciples disciplined and teach them. And what is the reason? Why is that? The other people are not so magnetizing. Instead, people are talking while the master is delivering a talk. But even in the case of the Buddha, it is not. So then the Buddha himself is asking the Sakuladai, what do you think? Why that in the gathering of the Buddha, the people are respecting, and in other places it is not happening? What do you think? Then Sakuladai think that what we decided at that day, and what I think personally is you have some qualities, Bhante. Due to these qualities, you know how to keep the gathering absorbed, and you know how to discipline them, and therefore, due to these qualities only, you become a good preacher, and disciples are disciplined, and anyone can see the communication is taking place. And then Sakuladai is enumerating one by one why Buddha is gaining that kind of a respect. And he enumerate, you are, Bhante, eating very little. And you are appreciating this quality of eating little. And that, I think, sir, is one of the qualities in you, in the Blessed One, because of which your disciples honor, respect, revere you, venerate you, and live under you as dependence, take dependence upon you, and honor, respect and honor, venerate you. Because your whole life is to moderate in eating or reducing in eating, you are only eat little. So this is what the Sakuladai is thinking. And then he says, not only that, and you have a quality, itara chivara santutya. Santutto hosi itara chivarena, itara chivara santutya cha vannavadi. Whatever the robe offered to you, you are very happy, very pleased with. And not only that, you praise and appreciate the contentment on the whatever the robes you get. So this is also one quality the Buddha himself is having. So therefore his disciples may be the venerable monks and nuns or lay, male and female, everyone respect you because you are contented and recommending the satisfaction or happiness with whatever the kind of robes you are going to get, you are happy with. So therefore it is whenever you read the sutta, it appears, this is the way Sakuladai is happy with Buddha. He is happy to present it, and this is the way it is being presented. You are eating little and appreciate the value of eating little. You are happy with whatever the robe, contented with whatever the robe you get, and you appreciate it. And itara pindapatena, santutto hoti itara pindapatena. Itara pindapata santuttiyacha vannavadi. Not only that, you are very happy in going on alms rounds, and whatever they get into your bowl, you are happy with, and you train your disciples or appreciate the same, depend on the alms rounds. Don't worry about the having estates, having gold, having uncooked rice and storage. Just depend on the alms rounds and appreciate the very thing. So that is why your disciples are very happy with and venerate, honorate and take dependence upon you. And therefore, going on alms rounds is highly praised. And it's a kind of a thing you are exemplifying, and you are a role model. So therefore your disciples are following it, and they are naturally venerating you, revere you, respect you. And Senasana means the dwelling. Whatever the thing, the lay people do it and give it to you, you dwell and you appreciate that kind of accepting what is given, and don't make any fuss. Be happy with that, and that is why the disciples are happy with you. So this was the fourth aspect. And the fifth is, you like solitude. as much as possible, you live in isolation and solitude, and you appreciate the solitude life. So therefore, the disciples are very respecting you, revering you, venerating you, and depending upon you, or take dependence and live under you. So these are the 5 qualities what I think attributable to you. So the disciples are very happy. So these 5 aspects, it's a very interesting 5 aspects in a meditative life or mendicant life. It has a direct impact on the ethical value or the social value. So outside people, you gauge you or measure you by these things. So therefore, whenever a newcomer come into the ordination or going forth, these things are being taught first. You must know how to wear the robe. You must know when you go on Pindapata, how you should behave. And in addition to that, whenever you give a sermon, what you should do, it completely appear your social relationship with the others. So therefore, being a monk or being a social being, you must have your outside attitudes. So these are the first and foremost thing you find in the syllabus, in the going forth. So these things are very important for the sustenance and the continuity of the sasana, or continuity of the monk's life or congregation. So these things we usually call etiquettes or social norms or culture or gentlemanship. So these things are very important because these are the criteria, yardsticks. External people are looking at you. So therefore, not only Sakuladai appreciate it, he attribute everything to the Buddha. Bhante, eating little and appreciating the eating little. You are contented with whatever the robes offered and you are phrasing it. You are contented with whatever the falling into your bowl in the arms rounds and you appreciate it. Well, you are contented with whatever the dwelling place or avasa or kuti and appreciating it, and you are happy with the solitude. Never go for socialization and gatherings, and you keep it. So these 5 qualities, of course, the yogis coming for the meditation, we are highly phrasing, try to be with, then it is very, very easy to organize a huge, big groups. If individually they are going to select their liking and dislike on the food, dwelling, clothings, and don't care about the solitude, when the 2 people get together, there won't be any kind of a good vibration. So therefore this is very interesting. But the most interesting thing is how Buddha responds to this Sakuladai. He says, if you are attributing these things to me and say, Venerable Sir, I see these 5 qualities in the Blessed One, because of which your disciples are honoring, respecting, revering, venerating and depending honorably and respectably, I know, I can, my response is that. You will say, I am eating very little. But I can tell you, some of my disciples are only eating only few morsels a day. And next day is still it is reducing. So they are more renowned on this character of less eating. If you are going to say, I am eating less and that is why my disciples are respecting me, my disciples being less and less on eating, they are respecting me, and I sometimes take a whole bowl full of rice. And still they are respecting, therefore your argument is not correct. And you have to understand the Buddha is happy. I mean, it is a good quality for a mendicant or anything. In Sinhala, we call adala kama dahaswati. Don't eat full stomach. And then it is giving so much of lethargic and all the kind of stuff. So therefore, all the time, the meditators must know what is the amount you should eat. And you don't believe, it's a quality of Buddha. He has specific qualities. One thing is, he knows how much to eat. We are ever experimenting. Still we don't know. In the world, you can see obesity. Or some people go for anorexia. Some people are bulimia. No one knows. Present day, eating is a big industry. So you can see the advertisement on the way to Colombo. So much of hot thing in the advertisement. So each and every person is always with expectation with the eating. So it is the main thing. And I know even the yogis, when they are going to live in the Nissarana, they are missing 15 dinners. So on the way back, they are thinking how to get the compensation for that. So immediately go there, organize dinners, and going to say, we meditate this way, that way, and they are talking in the dinner. So the whole world is eating world today. And to teach someone, and to discipline someone, and make it accepted by for the mendicant, it's a great job. But the Buddha says, I am not a role model for that. My disciples are better than me. So he says, you are correct. Sakruda is correct. People revere, but you must know, my disciples are more concerned about the amount of eating. And as far as the robes are concerned, the Buddha says, what you are telling is okay because I am coming from the king's family. And as a king, you have to have so much of adoration and kind of thing. He left everything. He went to this single robe and he make it in such a nice way to keep the modesty and still appear very good and nothing missing. But I can tell you, Sakrudai, my disciples are much, much more concerned about that. They depend on the rag robes. They are depending on the thrown away pieces. They are wearing always mending and kind of thing. But me, sometimes kings or the minister, they come and give the fresh robes. I wear it. So therefore, I am not a very good example to say satisfied or contented with the whatever available because I am getting more and I am using more. So therefore, your argument is no good. Your argument is disproved. And he says sometimes you are appreciating going on the alms rounds. So I also go. Buddha also, it's a characteristic thing. He take the bowl and this day also, too early, that is why he went to the Sakrudayan's place. When you are going alms rounds, the Buddha says, yes, I am going, but you know, sometimes when I go alms rounds, people says, Bhante, please come into our house. We are very happy to attend you, give all the facilities, not only giving foods. So sometimes I accept that kind of invitation. But while I am eating, my disciples are coming on alms rounds. They don't accept that invitation to go into houses. They say, I am very strict in Pindapada. I mean, my rule is I never get into the houses. So you see, in my case, I accept it. And sometimes I sit with you all and take the meal inside your house or donor's house. Some of the disciples, they never do it. So they are very strict. They are more than me. So therefore, why, if you are telling this is the reason that I am getting the veneration or revering, why should they respect me? They are more strict. And as far as the dwellings are concerned, the Buddha says, some people never get into a roof. For 8 months, specifically India, maybe it is possible, because no much of rain. So therefore, they have a vow or restrainment. They never go into a roof. They live under the trees and in the caves and kind of thing. And therefore, I also do it. But the Buddha says, most of the time, rich people do the houses and kind of thing. I go and sleep it. But my disciples are very restricted, very restrained. And they are not respecting me due to these qualities. If it is so, they must not be respecting me as you going to make a point. And the solitude also, the Buddha says, is a kind of a person. The Buddha is a kind of a person, always happy with the solitude. But he says, my disciples are more towards that. So if I am the person with the solitude appreciate the most, then their respect is okay. But my disciples are much more, they are completely dependent on the carnal grounds, never talk with people, and completely depending on the alms rounds and take the whole day meditating. And the Buddha is keep on proving, under such circumstances, they should not respect me. This is the reason to be respect. So therefore, in the Sakruddhaya Sutta, you can see the moderate or Buddha's modesty, and he is keeping an average, the role model, and his disciples are more exemplifying, and Buddha is happy on that. And when someone is going to say, these are the qualities that you are, because of that you are getting the respect, Buddha is disproving it. So that is a very kind of a thing. And when the Venerable Jnanarama was living, he said personally, you observed, personally, he's happy with the facilities and amenities and kind of thing. Because maybe he's old age and kind of, but always I saw, anyone is practicing more austere things, he used to phrase, he used to appreciate it and give all the facilities as much as possible. As a person in me, I thought this is kind of a self-torturing. Why should you, as far as the facilities are available, why don't you make use of them and put into meditation, and that is the way you can make use of it. But when I present that kind of ideas to Venerable Jnanarama, you always respect that even though I am not practicing that kind of austere thing, so always supporting it. So therefore, whenever these austere practices are concerned, santutto hoti itara chivarena, itara chivara santuttiyacha vannavadi. 2 aspects are being given. One thing is, as far as robes are concerned, you are happy with or contented with whatever the robes you are going to get. That is as far as you are concerned. And externally, you are phrasing that kind of a character. The appreciation of being contented with the robes, not only that, that you are doing it personally, that is the philosophy, that is the prophecy, that is the thing you are preaching others. So this is how each and every person in the society, even though they are not austere in practice, by appreciating, by supporting, by facilitating, they can share merits with the people, those who are practicing austere practices. So this is how we are making our meditative life, even though we are not up to the maximum discipline or maximum restrainment. If you are appreciating that, definitely slowly, you are going to that kind of appreciation. So today also a question came, how to understand the Kalyana Dhamma or Salyana Satpurisa, that means a noble person, noble teaching. At the beginning, as an individual, I may not be completely competent enough. I can't practice that kind of thing. Because my brought up and cultural background is different. But if you can simply appreciate it, easily you can be with them, and with time, you don't know how much the potential in you, in time to come, to adjust yourself. So this is a completely open issue in Buddhism. In Theravada tradition, each and everyone has the equal potential, even though tested and proven, and therefore, if someone is appreciating that, definitely one day he will live up to that. So therefore, Chanda Mulaka Sabbe Dhamma. If you have the correct perspective, and even though you are not 100% up to your role model, definitely you come up to that. So therefore, these, all the 5 qualities, even though the Buddha disproved, this is not the reason, that is not the reason why others are honoring and respecting and revering and venerating. These are very good 5 qualities. Sanjaya, the Thakuludai in that sense is okay. But the Buddha says, personally, I am not getting this kind of honoration and veneration due to other reasons. These are, with respect to that, very trivial. But as far as the meditators are concerned, these are, even from the Buddha's point of view, it may be not much main issues, but meditative life, to have a meditative life, this kind of a thing is a very, very important, because nowadays we don't know how to say enough. Always asking. So therefore, being a meditator, if you wish to have livelihood, the correct livelihood, or broader livelihood, or Samma Ajiva, these are the things you have to understand. Whatever the meditation you do on the cushion, or sitting meditation, whatever the meditation you do on the walking path, never progress, never accumulate in your experience, unless otherwise you adjust these qualities. They are somewhat ethical, they are somewhat extrovert, they has to go hand in hand. So these 5 qualities at the beginning of the sutta, it is being presented, but later the Buddha is telling what must be your internal qualities, and that is how he is assimilating the middle path. But before going to detail, I would say these 4 qualities, or I would say the basic 4 requisites, how do you behave with that, how do you relate with that, indicates how much you are progressing in your meditative practice. So, when and where you start meditation, definitely you may be ideal or perfect person to eat moderately, or wear moderately, or live in a dwelling in a moderately, or weigh the earning of your life or livelihood may not be completely perfect, or you may not be completely solitude or completely silent person. Never mind. It doesn't matter. But if you are appreciating it, and while practicing, you may see 1001 times, you get chances to reconsider it and take them as a criterion, reduce the desire for the food, not to self-torturing and not to indulgence, understand the middle path. And for that present day, there are a lot of food scientists and nutritional people. They are big multi-million business people. Do you think they are talking about your benefits or your well-being? Never. For sure, never. They are on their multi-million business. You must understand it. So therefore, having a role model with you in your premises and trying with, this is something, your eating qualities and your meditation, these two has to go in hand. So personally, I had the character like bulimia. Eating. We are always searching parties. 2 days before we go there and start right from the beginning, and eating is the main thing. And I had my basic fear after 26. I just wanted to be a full-time meditator, but I knew never it will happen, because 3 meals, 4 meals, 5 meals not enough for me. Usually you have 3 meals, and therefore my mother had the sympathy. You are completely contradiction. You wish to be a renunciate, but the amount of rice you are eating, I have my fair doubts. My mother is happy with rice-eating character than solitude. That's a Sri Lankan way raising the males. They must be very strong, so mothers are very happy to feed. To tell you, when I am eating, when I served my plate, she does not like others to see it. She says, go inside and eat. So when I was in Nilambe, I just wanted to do away with the dinner. So first and foremost thing I did was, I went away from the mother. I just wanted, but I know she never appreciated, even testing. So reduce little by little. And even then, when I am coming to Nissarana, I had my doubt whether I can do it. But now 30 years, I have never taken dinner, so I can't now think about how to take a dinner. It becomes completely different. So I can't claim that I have any particular positive, effective ways and means to do it. While meditating slowly, when you are practicing, and you can't understand the potential you have. And therefore, after doing that, if I am to look down other people struggling with this food, so that is not a good noble character. Because I have to understand my history. It is not a perfect one. Even now it is not the perfect one. So when you are practicing, not only that you gather, you select good characteristics, and you slowly tighten your belts, check your nuts and bolts and tighten them. While it is happening, you can see a lot of people, they are failure in that struggle. And often you feel like one-upmanship, telling that particular person can't, I can, therefore is inferior, I am superior. Then there is no meditative life. There is no community life. You become so much of a problem. So therefore, dealing with the food, ahare mattanyuta, bhojane mattanyuta, knowing the proper dose, it's a day by day you have to do experimenting. So if I am to give a talk on like this in the Western countries, or in the majority of the Westerners, they can't understand skipping of meal after the noon. So they ask, what is the relationship with this and the meditative life? And not only the Westerners, even Sri Lankan monks may ask the question. I am sorry to say, they will ask that, who has gone to the hell by eating rice? So even in taking, no problem. So therefore, sometimes they try meditation and say meditation won't work. They don't know why. So the ethical part, precepts, and their concentration training or tranquil training, the Buddha says the relationship between. So at the beginning I am telling, it is not a must you to be a perfect. You can start somewhere knowing your weakness, and when you keep on practicing, there's an enormous chances for you to come into the proper medium, broader way, and that happens through association with the noble friends and listening and questioning. You can keep on practicing. So therefore, no one is disqualified. No one is making a permanent damage. You are damaged, definitely, but it is rectifiable. You can redo it. As far as you understand your whole this effort is not to have a comparison with other people and to get one-upmanship, but day by day tightening. So therefore, these kind of things, Theravada tradition always try to see the relationship. Even though at the beginning you are not perfect, at least you must appreciate your attachment to the food as well as the meditation is heavily related. The Buddha says in the Bhikkhuni Sutta, Aharang Nissaya Aharam Pajata. The one day, during the time of the Buddha, a nun or Bhikkhuni was sick. It was a love sick. But anyway, she claimed sick. And she told her assistant, you better go to Venerable Ananda and tell, I am utterly sick. Therefore, I wish to see Venerable Ananda. The idea is a separate one. She has a kind of a affection, attachment to Venerable Ananda. Therefore, she wanted Venerable Ananda to come to his room. So ultimately, got a love sick and sent a messenger. But luckily, Venerable Ananda knew it. You can imagine what is now the situation. And she is so feverish, she can't talk and covered with the head to the toe. And she is sleeping. And when you go there, she came up and says, Bhante, it is very, very difficult to live in this very sick and kind of thing. When he says, the Venerable Ananda says, oh sister, the body is due to 4 factors. One thing is food, second thing is desire, third thing is the conceit, fourth thing is copulation. So the body is like that. You see the adventurous nature of the Buddha. You see how marvelous the teaching of the Buddha. He teach you how to get rid of food by using the food, by means of food. How to get rid of food by food. Then he says at the beginning, when you are eating, for each and every morsel, contemplate, I am taking these 4 elements, not for game, not for the beautification, not for this and that, but for just to have energy for my meditative life, and contemplate and see these are also 4 elements, I also the 4 elements, they are get together. There is no self. When you are contemplating like that, you take the meal or food as an object of meditation. Each time you are eating, be mindful. Ultimately you can see, if you are eating mindfully, properly at the time, you feel enough. There or not, you can't go. But if you are not eating mindfully, often you are overeating. So much so, Mahasi Sayadaw used to say, whenever the elderly people come into the meditation center, if they are honestly, if they are meticulously going to contemplate on each and every morsel, definitely they will stop eating short of their stomach filling. So ultimately they start to feel weak. Because that more and more you contemplate on while eating, your taste and entertaining of food will be reduced. So therefore Mahasi Sayadaw specifically alarm the elderly people, you can contemplate food, no problem, but don't reduce drastically. Your health will be poor, you can't meditate, so therefore daily try to get a moderate amount of food. So therefore Venerable Ananda is telling that particular bhikkhuni, sister, you see, our body is due to these 4 factors. One thing is food. Buddha is teaching how to get rid of food by means of food. And the other thing is desire. She says, the whole world is chasing behind the fame, gain and all the kind of thing. And he or she occasionally going to hear, there is a recluse is fully enlightened. And he had the forbearance and the desire. Ultimately he practiced till he reached his goal, that means the desireless life. Listening that other person says, I am also going to have a desire to have a desireless life. So that way you keep on practicing, ultimately you get rid of desire little by little. So this is the way to get rid of desire, by means of desire. And the conceit is, he says, we are fighting education, fame, gain, vehemently we are fighting, and more than beasts in the different skillfulness and spheres. So while we are fighting, one person comes to know, one achieved this conceitless life, and he go through the mana, conceit, and ultimately declare he don't have. So other person going to have a conceit. One day I also will go up to that level, and he do utmost. That is the way the mana could be reduced by means of mana. But Venerable Ananda says, this mating and copulation, Buddha never used as a technique to get rid of it by committing it. So then that lady comes to know, that sister comes to know the message. And her fever reduces. She becomes healthy and come and pay respect to the Venerable Ananda. Says, Bhante, if I have done something mistake by inviting you, please forget. This relationship never going to lead for the benefit or well-being of the person. So therefore all the other three, food you can get rid of by means of food, desire you can get rid of by means of desire, the conceit you can get rid of, but not this. So therefore the teaching of the Buddha is, food is something we are entertaining, indulging in our life, almost like a beast. No difference. That is the way animal life. That's the way human life. Only the human can get rid of desire by means of desire of food, by means of desire of food. And that is the way the teaching of the Buddha. So therefore we are not hating food, we are not making a desire to the food. Understand when and where we eat, only use for the utility, never for throwing party. So therefore that particular thing is more relevant to the renunciated people than the unrenunciated or gone forth or recluse. But even if you are full-time in the meditation, when you take Vikala Bhojana, Veramani, Sikkhapadan, Samadhyami, always remember, when you are dealing with foods, why are you using it for the utility value or not? Even the allowables in the evening, you must do it, otherwise you are asking for trouble. That is why the diseases are there. So this is one thing the Buddha presented, and up to the date, no one can challenge. And then the Buddha says this kind of teaching, he remember the past Buddha's dispensation. For the namesake, they says he has seen 500,000, 12,000, 27 Buddhas past, each and everyone prescribed this moderation in food. So therefore, don't reduce your meditation to the cushion. Don't reduce your meditation to the walking meditation and day-to-day activities in the meditation center. But while in the meditation center, as well as you are at home, you must appreciate eating of less, and you are eating less as well as appreciating it. So this is the way you can understand the true friend and the other people. The second thing is, in the same line is, the wearings or the garments or your outfit. So often I used to say, I did my agriculture in my education. We were taught our main income was, when we were in the university, tea, rubber, coconut. Now it is gone. Now main income is from the garment industry. We are not agriculture. We are depending on the garment industry because fashions are changing so quickly. Our labor is so cheap. So garment industry, so therefore you can understand how much defilements we are making out of garments. We are wearing clothes not to reduce defilement but to increase defilements. With that respect, if you look at a monk wearing this completely square robe, the way he is wearing it is the best garment in the world. No one can challenge, it never change. Even for so much of Buddhas, it has not been changed. And the Buddha is challenging, if you are going to amend it, you will be in trouble. You will get complicated. So best thing is to adhere to what is available. And when and where you are going to adjust and amend it, you will get punished. Because it is such a modest way of wearing. So therefore, even lay people, even they respect a piece of cloth called robe. So therefore, whenever the meditators or lay people happens, so you used to wear the white clothes, wear the shoulder clothes, and indicates we are 8 precept holders. So therefore you have to live up to that because this is your outfit. And make it modest, moderate, live up to that, so that you, even you in the night, if you see yourself, you know that I am a different person, I am a precept holder, and therefore always it's a reason for someone to be mindful, wearing, removing, adjusting, every time, deal with your clothes or robes, try to be mindful. So therefore, being a meditator, specifically as a full-time meditator, or if you are going to be a ordained or kind of thing, this is a kind of sign. It is not any other thing but to be mindful. So when I practiced in 79, 80, 81, I don't know what does it mean by mindfulness. So Venerable Dhammika, the Australian monk, I told Bhante, I can't sit and wait because my body is not trained like that, and no one expect a rascal like me going to sit. So they will throw stones to see a person like me sitting. So don't prescribe like that. And the walking meditation also difficult, even though now I say that do sit and walk, I never practice that way. I practice completely different way. He asked me to be mindful while brushing my teeth. So it was possible, because I am doing alone, and I used to say, be mindful. At that time I am brushing my teeth once a day, morning only, not after each and every meal. So while I am doing, I try to be mindful and report Venerable Dhammika what is happening. The second thing he gave me, he told it was working in me. Whenever I see a monk, I become hateful. Because monks are national jokers. So whenever I see yellow color, I try to be mindful. So he told, can you also practice whenever you see yellow color? Then I told, I have no much of a hatred to the monk. I know they are national jokers, it is a separate issue. So we both of them are trying. Whenever I see a yellow color in the street, of course I am not getting anger, but try to be mindful. So occasionally I see ladies with the yellow saris. Then the problem, what should I be mindful or be hatred or kind of thing, I told Venerable Dhammika. The Sri Lankan ladies are wearing so much of different saris. So therefore, that is not, I am telling, I know Sri Lankan monks, they are not living up to these things, so I develop hate. So then I told that is not working in me. Because yellow color is not only the monks. So otherwise, yellow color is a reason to be very faithful. It's a something auspicious. And it says, when you see monks, your eye disease will be reduced. If you see a real monks, it is called the Dassananuttariya. And I can remember, a hall was little bigger than this. And when I was in PAOK meditation center, hall full of monks are sitting and meditating. You can't imagine the scenery. 200, 300 monks are sitting and meditating. It is so lucky to see it. And in Panditaram also I saw 250 young boys and 250 young girls within an hour become nuns and samaneras. So I also took part, and soon they wear the robe and come and sit. The whole, full hall, full of monks and nuns, is so awful. It's such a beautiful thing. But, so therefore, whenever you are wearing a robe, or whenever you are wearing your white clothes, you must understand it is a kind of a symbol, the calming down of the mind. This brown color is a sign of calming down. Even the wild animals never get agitated to see this. They can't make out it is a tree or a man. They never hit. And the white clothes also, something like this. So that is, you must have that external outfit as well as the internal mindfulness. They are going hand in hand. So therefore, if you go to Western countries, they say they are not important. We must do meditation inside meditation. Directly you have to go to the meditation. Don't worry about these kind of things. So they wanted to have so much of results within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but they are not ready to reconsider your behavior or your relationship with the external world and the ethics. So much so the meditation never get digested, never get rooted well. So therefore always try to reconsider the amount of food you are eating, the clothes that you are wearing, and the next thing is how do you earn this food. You can exploit others, you can do all the kind of dirty tricks in the world, and while eating, if you know it is not coming from the justifiable way, throughout that you have to have your doubts. So therefore monks are definitely depending on what is given, and the yogis, when they come, the other people come and cook and give it to you. And sometimes they are worshipping. And the yogis feel so much upset. How can that be? They are the people learning, and they be respectful for this thing. So therefore you feel, my utter duty is to fulfill my mindfulness and live up to that meal. It is not for other kind of things. So therefore it's a commitment, social commitment, the way your livelihood. And the research people going to say, you can't have a justifiable livelihood as the Buddha prescribed in the northern pole and the southern pole. Because agricultural area, they are not agricultural area. Only you can live around the equator. Because sun and the moon, the rain are available. So whenever the Buddha appearing on the earth, he always select India or someone near the equator, where you can have justifiable kind of livelihood. During the time of the Buddha, the farming and the animal husbandry, rearing cows, they are considered as justifiable, and therefore present day, it's very difficult to see the lay life and how to earn. And the best thing what I found was reduce your consumption. Otherwise, you can't have 100% pure way of earnings. But if you can reduce your consumption and be happy with what you earn, and that is the way you can justify. Otherwise, each and every job, each and every profession, and there is a hidden part now. We don't know what is happening. So therefore, we can't have 100%, but you can reduce it. You can reduce by reducing consumerization, reduce luxuries. Not only on the food, not only the clothings, and even in the households, what we live, do it for the utility value. And otherwise, you can't entertain solitude. It's a huge relationship. If your relationship to the four requisites, if you know how to moderate them, if you know how to say enough and to use it for the utility value, immediately you can see you get enough time for sitting and walking meditation. Otherwise, your whole day will be completely upset because you don't have time for walking and sitting meditation or simply meditation. So therefore, individually we have to be responsible for solitude, and for that reduce the dealings with the food, clothings, dwellings, and way of your earnings, and that is you are individually responsible. Whenever we are living in a community like this, we are not only independently responsible, as a group we are responsible. And then the whole world is respecting it, and we get enough time for meditation. So therefore the Buddha says, these are not the more primary important aspect people respect and venerate Buddha. He is taking this opportunity and making the mindset and going to say, out of this solitude, what are the methodology, what are the way of mindfulness leading to this highest respect, and not only that on the respect to the Buddha, but the people, those who are practicing also undergoing this kind of evolution. So today I am not going to take much more time upon the talk, rather than making the ground preparation, and tomorrow onward I would like to continue with the way the Buddha presented to the Sakrudai, and then it will be a gradual process, keep on going into the deep. So this much talk will be a reason for individual of each of you to be happy, because already you are in this appreciation. Otherwise you can't come here. So therefore, make a point to be happy, glad, and try to be more and more along these criterions, as well as the mindfulness. Definitely, I hope within these 2 weeks, we can tighten our belts more and more and gear all the energies we have to the final goal. With that remark, I would like to sum up today's talk. Thank you very much for listening.